Hey friends, Grace Millsap here. Happy day, happy month, happy year. Today's asana practice was inspired by a Yoga Sutra, Yoga Sutra 2.18, and I'm not gonna try and butcher the Sanskrit today, but the English translation by Pandit Rajmani Tigunait, my favorite, says, "The objective world, composed of elements and senses, and having the inherent properties of illumination, action, and stability, has a twofold purpose: fulfillment and freedom." And so this year for me, it's been all about freedom and finding ways to create financial freedom, emotional freedom, mobility, stability. So this one really stuck out to me, especially with everything that's happening in the world. It can be really easy and tempting to numb out or to try and escape or shut down from everything that's happening. So this reminder is really beautiful for me in that it helps me remember to open my eyes and to look around and connect to elements of earth, air, fire, water, ether, and remember these things are outside. When I look around, I can see them, and also inside. And that internal looking is a little more challenging sometimes because it can be hard to want to sit and be with all those things that come up. So this practice is an asana practice for us to connect to the different elements through movement. So we'll start actually standing up. And I have two blocks, one for each hand. They are always nearby, so you feel free to grab something similar or different. And as you come to stand at the top of your mat, take a moment and ground. So it may look like some light stomping, may look like a little twist, may look like a little shuffle step. But whatever you're doing, a little run and play, splash dance, stand up really tall once you feel where you're connected to the ground. Maybe look at your toes, make sure they're still there. And from here, stand up just a little taller. You can let your hands fall by your sides, namaste to rolling your shoulders down and away. And then take a big breath in, and a big breath out. Again, breathing in, a little bigger, sending it out. One more, breathe in, a little bigger, even more, send it out. And take just a moment to scan your body from head to heel, noticing how you feel physically. Feeling where you're connected and touching the floor, where you are supported by your bones internally. And standing up just a little taller. And walking your hands to the back of your thighs, just under your glutes. Take a big breath in as you lift and extend through your heart. And a big breath out as you fold forward, tracing your fingertips down the backs of your legs. Relax through your head, and then breathe in, trace your fingertips up, and stand up. Do that again, folding forward, nice and easy. And rising back up. One more, roll it down. And stand back up. And this time, draw your hands to heart center. Pressing through your toes, stretching through your head, lifting the crown taller to the sky. And drawing your awareness down into your feet, picturing big, thick, red, gnarly roots shooting down to the top of your feet, down to the center of the earth, wrapping itself around the earth's core, keeping you tethered, grounded, supported. And then from here, inhale, stretch up, reach up, grabbing the sky. And then exhale, fold forward. And we'll stay in a forward fold, and this is where your blocks can be your best friends, bringing the floor closer to you. And this is called an elephant pose. We'll ground through our feet, ground through our hands like an elephant's trunk. And then relax our belly down to our thighs. And maybe it feels good to take your space a little wider. Find a little movement, swaying your torso forward, back, side to side. Still remaining grounded through your toes, through your palms. And then keeping your hands grounded, walk your feet a little closer, like hips distance apart. And then breathe in, halfway lift, slide your hands up your quads, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold, belly to thighs. Again, inhale, slide up, lift up, extend. Exhale, bend and lower. One more, inhale. Exhale. Good, then bend your knees a lot. Place your hands flat to the floor. Drop one shin, then the other. Tabletop. Take up a little more space, widen your knees, widen your hands, more surface area to the floor. Breathing in, stay here. Breathe out, child's pose, melt hips to heels, heart to ground. And keep this moving. Press through your hands, draw yourself forward, tabletop. Exhale, child, sinking your hips a little closer to your heels, melting your heart, forehead to the floor. 2 more rounds just this way. Inhale, coming forward, stability, shoulders stack over wrists. Exhale, child, melt and sink. 1 more, breathe in. Breathe out. And take just 3 breaths here. If you want to drum the floor with your hands or shimmy your shoulders, but find a way to feel stable and supported by the earth. 1 more breath in. Downward facing dog. And perhaps you take a few rounds of table to down dog, keeping your palms planted, taking time to stretch through the backs of your legs, driving through your heels. And when you're ready, we'll stay in down dog and take some explorative movements. And maybe that's bending one knee, then the other, walking out your dog. That may mean shifting your weight forward, back, side to side, just feeling how strong and supported you are. And find some stillness here in this shape. And then bend your knees a lot, so like get a little buoyancy. And then lift your right foot, bending your left knee a little bit. And then do that again, drop your right, lift your left. And take your dog on a walk this way, keeping your knees buoyant, belly to thighs. Weight is pressing down into the floor. Good, now roll yourself forward into a high plank, creating stretch across your heart, flexion between your feet, and settle into your most stable place. And maybe that means dropping your knees or even forearms down to the ground today. Taking 1 more big breath in, creating length. 1 more big breath out, lower down to the ground. Feel the earth beneath you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Tuck your toes, child. Downward facing dog. Stretch and lift. Breathe in. Breathe out. We'll bring our right foot to the top of the mat, and it may look like a stretching through 3-point. It may look like a stepping it around and pulling it through, or even using your hands. But go ahead and drop down to your left knee, settling your hips towards the floor. The blocks can bring the ground closer to your hands. Start to move with your breath, low lunge, splits prep. And keeping your weight down to the ground, shift your weight forward and back. And take a moment and pause in your half splits. Stack your wrist under your shoulders so you can get lots of space to press through your palms. Actively flex and curl your right toes back towards your face. Breathe here. Walk your hands forward, placing them inside of your right leg like a dragon's lunge. Tuck your left toes, give your left knee a little bounce, and then rotate over to the left foot. Walk your hands through and turn them to the opposite side, dropping your right knee down, untuck your right toes. It's a different orientation, and yet we can still find grounding, downward motion of energy in hips. And as you're ready, gliding your hips forward and back, low lunge, splits prep. Life turns us in all different directions sometimes, and we can use these tools of earth orientation. Where am I? Here's the floor. All as tools to reground. Pausing in your splits prep, stack your wrists under your shoulders, actively flex and curl your left toes towards your face. Coming forward, low lunge. Dragon's lunge, drop both hands inside your left foot. Tuck your right toes, give it a little bounce, and then roll over to the outside of the right heel, Skandasana. And walking ourselves back forward and to the top of the mat. Stepping forward, left foot meets right, fold. Inhale, stretch up, reach up, ground through the toes, reach higher through the hands. And exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Downward facing dog. And you can step, you can come through tabletop, keeping your weight low, but arriving with your hips high to the sky. Okay, so plant your right foot, stretch through your left foot. And then bring your left foot to the top of the mat. It can come straight through, it can come around, dropping on down to your right knee. And this time you can keep your hands down. You can bring them to your left thigh. Or maybe as you send your hips down, you stretch your fingertips away from them high towards the ceiling. Keep your hips low, fingers, heart, gaze high, breathe in. Breathe out, drop your hands inside your left foot. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, roll on over, Skandasana. And walking your hands through center, maybe bringing your blocks. And rolling over to the other side, low lunge on the right. Drop your left knee, untuck your left toes. Choose to keep your hands down, press them to your thigh, or stretch them in opposition to your hips. Anchoring your hips, root sitting bones down to the ground, stretch away. Drop both hands inside your right foot. Tuck your left knees, rotate over, Skandasana. Coming through center, the other side, and rolling on over. Lunge, fold forward. Halfway lift, fold. Plant your hands down to the ground, drop down, tabletop, one shin, other shin. Crisscross your ankles and have a seat. Take a moment to feel the ground beneath you. Orienting yourself once more with the room. Sliding your hands to your thighs, feel your stability. And then just sit for a few breaths and notice the earth element within you, around you, anything that's stable, strong, supportive. Let's start to add a little flow. No sticks in the mud here, adding a little movement, add a little water. Start to circle your entire body in one direction. Maybe some sound effects. And switching directions when you feel ready. And coming back to stillness, and just notice if you still feel some internal churning. Tabletop, plant your hands flat to the floor, roll on over. And take some intuitive movements, getting looseness in the belly, cat and cow. Softness as you sway your torso one side to the other. And see if over the next few moments you can get really curious, playful, explorative. Maybe never even taking the same shape twice as you feel and move and groove. In whatever weird ways are calling you, taking up all the space if you need it. A few more rounds of breath, and from the safety of your home, there's probably nobody watching. Or you can get a little weirder, wilder, make some noise. Neutral tabletop. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Rolling chakrabakasana. So it's an inhale, float it forward, high plank. And it's an exhale, take a deep bend in your knees, press belly to thighs, keep your tailbone straight up and back, driving through your heels. And take it a few more rounds. Inhale, floating forward, rolling forward. Exhale, deeply bending, scoop, sweep and lift. Two more. One more. Pause in this shape. From here, bring your feet to your hands. This can happen slowly or all at once. And maybe it's a wider stance today. And slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. Nice and easy. Wiggling and shimmying at the top. Then I'll turn to face you so you can see what's happening. You may turn to stand wide on the mat as well. Walk your feet as wide as is comfortable. Heels in, toes out. Little bounce here, making sure it feels safe in the hips and knees. Shimmy your hands. Flip them towards you. And then cross your thumbs over, hooking them, taking a little butterfly mudra. Lovingly drawing your hands to your heart. Go ahead and sink down into your hips. And to breathe in, stretch through your chest, and to breathe out, drop to your left. Drop all the way down to the left, exhaling. Inhale at the bottom and ride your inhale to the top, to the right. Then twice more, exhaling to the left. Inhaling to the right, hips stay soft, glutes watery, exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. One more. Coming back to center. Exhaling your hips, and you can switch the grip in your butterfly hands. Heart and hands touch, sink a little lower. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, drop to the right. Drop, drop, drop. Exhale, inhale, rise to the left. And again, exhale to the right. Inhale to the left, keeping it soft, fluid. Exhale. Inhale, one more. Nice, and settling back. Stepping to the top of the mat, you can do a little noodle dance, wiggling your hips up and down. Good, and now breathe in, stretch up, reach up. Breathe out, fold it forward. Halfway lift. Fold. And then drop on down table. Crisscross your ankles and sit on back. And so we've got some options for this next shape, and we'll be here for like a minute or so. Soles of the feet together, knees wide. I like to place blocks under my knees. You can stay sitting up, or you can lie down. So either Baddha Konasana, sitting up, or Supta Baddha Konasana, lying down. Bring your hands to your low belly, and your wrists can touch the pointy hip bones. Fingertips may touch the pubic bone like a downward facing triangle. And we'll just breathe. Dropping our awareness into our low, low belly. And using this time to connect with the fluidity within you. All the places like water or liquid, juiciness in you that keeps you well lubricated, well-oiled machine. Part of you that's creative, open, receptive. And then wherever you are, slide your hands a little up your belly, like to your belly button, your mid-center. And start to breathe here. This is the home of our fire. Our digestion, our transformation of food to energy. We can breathe and stoke our fire. Gather your knees, and if you're not already on your back, go ahead and lie down on your back. And then pull your knees a little closer in towards your chest. Extending your arms out wide like a T. Press through your fingers, and then rock your knees from side to side, not quite letting them touch, but letting them hover. Do your best to keep your palms and maybe even your shoulders connected. So this twist is coming from your center. If you want a little more challenge, you can straighten your legs and drop them down to one side, doing your best to keep that opposite shoulder blade down. Squeezing low belly in, maybe looking away. If you would like, you can keep your eyes on the fire, eyes on your belly, inner, outer. Good, and one more on each side. And hug knees into chest, take some rocks and rolls. Watch out for your blocks, rolling up into center, coming back to a seat. Crisscrossing one shin in front of the other. And we'll breathe in, stretch up, reach out, and breathe out, twist to the right. Good again, inhale, center, stretch, and lift, and exhale, twist in the opposite way. And we'll just keep this going so it doesn't really matter which side we did first. And we'll use the inhale to reach and stretch up, and use the exhale, squeeze belly to spine, arms follow. Good again, inhale, lift, exhale, squeeze and twist. A few more rounds. And one more. And then we'll pause and a twist to the right. Pressing down to our sitting bones, stretching out through the crown of our head, perhaps looking over our back right shoulder. Breathe big into your belly. Untwist and come to center, twist in the opposite direction. Keep the length, sitting bones to head. Twisting a little deeper from your center. Untwist. Coming back to front, and you can switch the crisscross in your legs. Doesn't need to be too fancy. And we'll do just a little bit of breath work here, Kapalabhati. So what this looks like is a simple passive inhale and a snap back exhale. So a real quick demo, an inhale, exhale, just like that. So I'm exhaling forcefully out my nose, passively inhaling through my mouth, and I'm pumping my belly. And so you may be able to do this at the same pace as me. You may be able to do it slower. You may get really confused by this and not be able to find it, and know that it's enough to keep your awareness in your belly. And maybe you can picture a little fire. So we'll do just a few moments of this, Kapalabhati, and if you have some congestion, this may send it right out, so maybe a tissue nearby is useful. You can always press pause and come back in a moment. So it's a breathe in, breathe out. Here we go, breathe in. Go. Five, four, three, two, one, let it go. If it feels good, you can fold over, maybe bringing the floor closer to you with a block. Let's do that again, sitting up. Give your belly a little check. Good job. Breathe in. Breathe out. Here we go. Kapalabhati, round 2. Inhale. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. And fold forward, connecting to the heat, the fire, the cleansing out. And all good things happen in 3s. So we'll take one more round. And if you notice that your shoulders are doing the convulsing, try and back out a little bit. Let your belly do the work. Here we go. Breath to clear. Inhale. Exhale. Begin. In. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. And then find your way onto your belly. Just giving your fire in your belly some awareness of the floor. If you wanted to crisscross your arms and make a little pillow for them, you can. Maybe walk your feet a little wider, more like crocodile pose, prakasakriyasthitisilam. Breathing into your belly. And we just heated ourselves up, and now give some of that heat somewhere to go, breathing into our belly, pressing it into the floor. And start to contemplate the fires within you. Anytime there's a transformation or a conversion, spark, metabolism, digestion, that is your fire. And fire has another bad rap sometimes for its destruction. And sometimes in the path of great destruction, there's opportunity for creation. The ground's been toiled, regrown, and turned upside down, and now it is fertile. From destruction, there's opportunity for creation. And untuck your toes, turn your head down to the ground. And you're welcome to leave your hands close to your ribs, or maybe you walk them out a little wider apart, pressing fingers down, palms lift like little spider fingers. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, and we'll roll up on an inhale like a little baby cobra. Feeling if that feels fine for your back, and rolling back down. And taking this a few more rounds, listening into your spine, moving into the space of the heart. Sending the fire from our belly up into the heart. So we may be passionate and involved and caring about what it is we do. Good, one more, we'll come up and we'll stay here. But maybe your feet walk a little wider. And then drop your left shoulder into the center, looking over your right shoulder, growing really long through the left side body. Back up to center, lift, and then drop down, right shoulder to center, look over your left ear. Coming up center, and drop the left down, look right, center, right down, look left. One more each side. Coming back to center, and rolling it on down to the ground, resting forehead on arms, rock your hips and heart. Put your hands to the ground, drop back, puppy, tucking your toes, melt your heart down to the ground. You can drop your chin or forehead, keeping spaciousness across your chest. Breathe. There's an option for one more down dog, pressing through your toes, stretching through your hips, And then we'll all come back down to the ground and end up flip-flopped over onto our back. Nice and easy, turning over. Flatten your feet to the ground. Drum your fingertips, toe tips. Dynamic bridge pose. So it's an inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips, lift your hands, keep stretching, lift your heart, touch the floor behind you. And then exhale, float and lower back down. And riding a wave of breath, wave of air, stretching up, reaching up, open through your heart. Exhale, floating down. 2 more rounds just this way, lifting up. One more inhale. And pause at the top, breathe in a little more, in, lift higher. Exhale, keep your hips lifted, lower your hands, bridge pose. And you can stay here, hands down, maybe you shimmy your shoulders closer together so you can interlace them. And you can always let a block under your hips for more stability. Breathe big into your collarbones, full body breath. 2 more rounds. Lower on it down. Walk your feet wide, drop your knees towards center. Stretch your arms out wide like a T, give yourself a big bear hug. So pay attention to the back of your heart space, the space behind your shoulder blades, behind your heart, and just breathe big. Not just paying attention to our front-facing heart, but also the stuff we hide behind it. Sending air, love, compassion, heart into this back, creating more space, opportunity. And switch your arms, taking the opposite elbow on top, breathing just as big. Uncross your arms. You can choose to keep your knees together or move them in any other way. But take your thumb and your pointer finger, middle finger, and make little triads with them. And then take them to the center of your heart space, and not the anatomical heart, but your chest, your breastbone, sternum. And just start to lightly tap. Waking up your heart. Getting a little air moving. A little faster, a little slower. And then allow yourself to rest and be. Arms can come to the heart, stretch wide. Breathing into your heart space. Contemplating the importance of the element of air as it brings you nutrition. Pulling in the waste product of the trees. And in turn, our waste product nourishes them, cycle of life. And then move your breath from your heart into your throat. And maybe your hands slide lightly to the throat, not too hard. And this is called Ujjayi breath, so if you know it already, you can begin. Otherwise, perhaps you start to breathe in and out of your nose. Lightly closing your lips. And then like you could hum or fog up a mirror in the back of your throat. And maybe feel a slight warming and a hum on your exhale. If you have a dry throat, maybe this isn't the best breath for you, but you can keep your awareness here. Maybe picturing some blueness to your throat. Being gentle. You can stay here, or you can find a fish pose. There's a couple options for fish. You can keep it active, bringing your forearms to the floor, palms spreading wide, point through your toes. Prop up and pop up your heart, still breathing Ujjayi, and maybe you drop your head back. Another option, and my personal favorite, is to make a supported fish using one block under my shoulders, one block under my head, and this can take a little configuring. Permission to try a few options, getting it just right. And then we'll still breathe with our throat exposed. Moving into the element of ether, of space. It's through this space, this ether, through which our sound travels, through which communication happens. We can't always see it, but we trust it's there. A few more moments. Coming on down. For the final pose before we rest, you can choose. And it can be like a hips on a block. Maybe this is how you start because it's a little easier to get your feet higher. Or constricting our throat a little bit, no matter which version we take. But still keep your warming, cooling, aware breath here. You can stay here, or you can come up into a shoulder stand, bringing both hands to your low back. Still breathing big. And the final option is for a plow pose, halasana, dropping your toes over your head towards the floor. And the point here is that you're still breathing big into your throat, no matter where you've created constriction. Three more breaths. Roll on out. Remember that you have a block there, maybe. And slowly settle yourself down into the ground. And take this next minute or so, and any movements you need to feel complete. There's no wrong way to end this practice of connection. And working to settle yourself into a shape of final rest. And that can look like lying here on your back with your arms wide. Or maybe you prefer to curl into a ball laying on one side, or even laying back on your belly. Take one more breath in together. Hold it in. Sip in more. Hold longer. Send it out. Shavasana. Rest. Breathe in. Send it out. Reconnect to the earth elements beneath you. Your mat, the floor, the ground. Reconnect to the earth element within you, your bones, muscles, skin. Slowly start to wake up fingertips and toe tips. Wrists and ankles, arms and legs. In your own way of time, rolling up, sitting up. Just taking a moment to sit. Touching your hands at your chest. We'll take 3 more breaths together in an Om to seal in this practice. Breathe in. Breathe out. 2 more. Breathing in for Om. Join me, hum or listen. And drawing the sound, vibration to the space between our eyebrows, this home of our intuition. Taking a moment of gratitude for these elements. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and our ability to connect to them within and without. Taking a moment of gratitude for this long lineage of teachers spanning back thousands and thousands of years that have brought these practices to us today. Thank you all so much for joining me. May you find a life, a moment today, just even one single second of fulfillment and freedom. Thank you, friends. Happy day.